In the merry month of June, from my home I started, left the girls at home, nearly broken-hearted, saluted father dear, kissed me darling mother, drank a pint of beer, me grief and tears to smother, and off to reap the corn, and leave where I was born. I cut a stout black thorn to banish ghosts and goblins, in a brand new pair of bogs, I rattled all the bogs, frightened all the dogs, on the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hunt ahead and turn 'em down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin. Whack for da.
Hello and welcome to our inaugural Zoomsday Bloomsday 2020, the year of the pandemic. This is our 35th annual celebration of this daft literary holy day, when we join with cities around the world in celebration of a man who never lived on a day that never was. What you're about to see is our June 16th presentation with a number of scenes we've re-recorded because of some unexpected technical hitches on June 16th, like a jackhammer that decided to join in the fun and an actor's internet connection that insisted on playing hide and seek. So relax, sit back and let Joyce's glorious words waft your way, and let us all rejoice. Joyce's Ulysses begins on the morning of Thursday, June 16th, 1904, in the Sandy Cove Martello Tower, where Stephen Dedalus, the young Joyce figure, recently returned from studying in Paris, is staying as a guest of Oliver St. John Gogarty, otherwise known as Buck Mulligan.
Stately, plump, Buck Mulligan came from the stairhead bearing a bowl of lather on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. A yellow dressing gown, ungirdled, was sustained gently behind him on the mild morning air. He held the bowl aloft and intoned, "Intro ibo ad altare Dei." Halted, he peered down the dark winding stairs and called out coarsely, "Come up, Kinch! Come up, you fearful Jesuit!" Solemnly, he came forward and mounted the round gun rest. He faced about and blessed gravely thrice the tower, the surrounding land, and the awaiting mountains. Then, catching sight of Stephen Dedalus, he bent towards him and made rapid crosses in the air, gurgling his throat and shaking his head.
Stephen Dedalus, displeased and sleepy, leaned his arms on the top of the staircase and looked coldly at the shaking, gurgling face that blessed him, equine in its length, and at the light, untonsured hair, grained and hued like pale oak.
Buck Mulligan peeped an instant under the mirror and then covered the bowl smartly. "Back to barracks. For this, O dearly beloved, is the genuine Christine, body and soul and blood and urns." Slow music, please. Shut your eyes, gents. One moment. A little trouble about those white corpuscles. Silence all. He peered sideways up and gave a long, slow whistle of call, then paused a while in rapt attention. 2 strong, shrill whistles answered through the calm.
Thanks, old chap. That will do nicely. Switch off the current, will you?
He skipped off the gun rest and looked gravely at Dedalus, his watcher, gathering about his legs the loose folds of his gown. The plump, shadowed face and sullen oval jowl recalled a prelate, patron of arts in the Middle Ages. "The mockery of it, your absurd name, an ancient Greek."
Stephen Dedalus stepped up, following him wearily halfway, and sat down on the edge of the gun rest, watching him still as he propped his mirror on the parapet, dipped the brush in the bowl, and lathered cheeks and neck.
"My name is absurd too, Malachi Mulligan, 2 dactyls, but it has a Hellenic ring, hasn't it? Tripping and sunny like the book himself. We must go to Athens. Will you come if I can get the aunt to fork out 20 quid? He laid the brush aside and, laughing with delight, cried, "Will you come, the jejune Jesuit?"
Tell me, Mulligan.
"Yes, my love."
How long is Haynes going to stay in this tower?
Buck Mulligan showed a shaven cheek over his right shoulder. "God, isn't he dreadful? A ponderous Saxon. He thinks you're not a gentleman. God, these bloody English, bursting with money and indigestion, because he comes from Oxford. You know, Dedalus, you have the real Oxford manner. He can't make you out. Oh, my name for you is the best, Kinch, the knife blade. He shaved warily over his chin.
He was raving all night about a Black Panther. Where's his
A
gun
woeful
case?
lunatic. Were you in a funk?
I was. Out here in the dark with a man I don't know, raving and moaning to himself about shooting a Black Panther. You saved men from drowning. I'm not a hero, however. If he stays on here, I am off.
Buck Mulligan frowned at the lather on his razor blade. He hopped down from his perch and began to search his trouser pockets hastily. Scutter! He came over to the gun rest and, thrusting a hand into Stephen's upper pocket, said, "Let us alone of your nose rag to wipe my razor."
Stephen suffered him to pull out and hold up on show by his corner a dirty, crumpled handkerchief.
Buck Mulligan wiped the razor neatly. Then, gazing over the handkerchief, he said, "The bard's nose rag, a new art colour for our Irish poets. Snot green. You can almost taste it, can't you?" He mounted the parapet again and gazed out over Dublin Bay. God, isn't the sea what Algie calls it? A great sweet mother. The snot green sea, the scrotum tightening sea. Epi oimpa ponton, a dedalus the Greeks. Thalata.
A voice within the tower calls loudly, "You up there, Mulligan?"
I'm coming. Look at the sea. What does it care about offences? Chuck Loyola Kinch and come on down. The Sassenach wants his morning rashers. Don't mope over it all day. I'm inconsequent. Give up the moody brooding. His head vanished, but the drone of his descending voice boomed out of the stairhead. I'm the queerest young fellow that ever you heard. My mother's a Jew, my father's a bird. With Joseph the joiner I cannot agree. So here's to disciples and Calvary. If anyone thinks that I amn't divine, he'll get no free drinks when I'm making the wine, but have to drink water and wish it were plain that I make when the wine becomes water again. Goodbye now, goodbye, write down all that I said, and tell Tom, Dick, and Harry I rose from the dead. What's bred in the bone cannot fail me to fly, and all of it's breezy. Goodbye now, goodbye.
Wood shadows floated silently by through the morning peace from the stairhead seaward where he gazed. Inshore and farther out, the mirror of water widened, spurned by light-shod hurrying feet. White breast of the dim sea, the twining stresses two by two, hand plucking the harpstrings, merging their twining chords. Wave white, wedded words shimmering on the dim tide. Cloud began to cover the sun slowly, shadowing the bay in deeper green.
Kinch, wake up. Bread, butter, honey. Haines, come in. The grub is ready. Bless us, O Lord, in these thy gifts. Where's the sugar? Jay, there's no milk.
Stephen fetched the loaf and the pot of honey and the butter cooler from the locker.
Buck Mulligan sat down in a sudden pet. What sort of a kip is this? I told her to come after 8.
We can drink it black. There's a lemon in the locker.
Oh, damn you and your Paris fads. I want Sandy Cove milk.
Haynes came in from the doorway. "That woman is coming up with the milk."
The blessings of God on you. Sit down, pour out the tea there. The sugar is in the bag. Here, I can't go fumbling at the damned eggs. He hacked through the fry on the dish and slapped it out on 3 plates, saying, "In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti." The doorway was darkened by an entering form.
"The milk, sir?"
"Come in, ma'am. Kinch, get the jug."
"Oh, that's a lovely morning, sir. Glory be to God."
"To whom?" "Ah, to be sure."
Stephen reached back and took the milk jug from the locker.
Mulligan said to Haynes, "The islanders speak frequently of the collector of prepuces."
"How much, sir?"
A quart. He watched her pour into the measure and thence into the jug rich white milk. Well, not hers, old shrunken Pop's. She poured again a measureful and a tilly. Old in secret, she had entered from a morning world, maybe a messenger. She praised the goodness of the milk, pouring it out. Crouching by a patient cow at daybreak in the lush field, a witch on her toadstool, her wrinkled fingers quick at the squirting dugs. They lowed about her whom they knew, dew, silky cattle. Silk of the kine and poor old woman, names given her in old times. A wandering crone, lowly form of an immortal, serving her conqueror and her gay betrayer, their common cook queen, a messenger from the secret morning. To serve her to a braid, whether he could not tell, but scorned to beg her favour.
It is indeed, ma'am, Buck Mulligan said, pouring milk into their cups.
Taste it, sir.
He drank at her bidding. If we could live on good food like that, he said to her somewhat loudly, we wouldn't have the country full of rotten teeth and rotten guts, living in a bog swamp, eating cheap food, and the streets paved with dust, horse dung, and consumptive spits.
Are you a medical student, sir?
I am, ma'am.
Would you look at that now?
Stephen listened in scornful silence. She bows her head to a voice that speaks to her loudly, her bone setter, her medicine man. Me she slights. To the voice that will shrive in oil for the grave, all there is of her but her woman's unclean loins, of man's flesh made not in God's likeness, the serpent's prey. Unto the loud voice that now bids her be silent, with wondering, unsteady eyes.
Can I talk to her, Colin Daz?
Do you understand what he says?
Is it French you're talking, sir?
Look, we'll a log a holding.
Irish. Is there Gaelic on you?
Oh, I thought it was Irish by the sound of it. Are you from the West, sir?
I'm an Englishman.
He's English and he thinks we ought to speak Irish in Ireland.
Well, sure we ought to, and I'm ashamed that I don't speak the language myself. I'm told it's a grand language by them that knows.
Grand is no name for it. Wonderful entirely. Fill us out some more tea there, Kinch. Would you like a cup, ma'am?
Oh, no, thank you, the old woman said, slipping the ring of the milk can on her forearm and about to go.
Have you bill? We better pay our Mulligan, hadn't we?
Oh, bill, sir. Well, it's 7 mornings a pint at twopence, and 7 twos a shilling and twopence over, and then these 3 mornings a quart at 4pence is 3/4 a shilling. That's a shilling and 1 and 2. It's 2 and 2, sir.
Buck Mulligan sighed, and having filled his mouth with a crust thickly buttered on both sides, stretched forth his legs and began to search his trouser pockets.
Pay up and look pleasant.
Stephen filled the third cup, a spoonful of tea colouring faintly the thick, rich milk.
Buck Mulligan brought up a florin, twisting it round in his fingers, and cried, "A miracle!" He passed it along the table towards the old woman. "Ask nothing more of me, sweet. All I can give you, I give."
Stephen laid the coin in her uneager hand. Below 2pence.
Time enough, sir. Time enough. Good morning, sir.
She curtsied and went out, followed by Buck Mulligan's tender chant.
Heart of my heart, were it more would be laid at your feet. Seriously, Daedalus, I'm stony broke. Hurry out to your school kip and bring us back some money. Today the bards must drink and junket. Ireland expects that every man this day shall do his duty.
In Mullingar that night I rested limbs so weary. Next morning by daylight I set off bright and early. Took a drop of the pure, keep me spirits from sinking. That's the Paddy's cure whenever he's on for drinking. Saw the lassie smile, laughing all the while at me curious style. It set me heart a bubbling. Asked if I was hired, wages I required. Till pretty soon I tired of the rocky road to Dublin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on the Headington, down the rocky road and all the way to Dublin. Wakefield, Alida.
That same morning, the Blooms of 7 Eccles Street are astir. Bloom is preparing breakfast for his wife, Molly, Marion Bloom soprano, sleeping in the brass bed brought by her family from Gibraltar.
Mr. Leopold Bloom ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls. He liked thick giblet soup, nutty gizzards, a stuffed roast heart, liver slices fried with crust crumbs, and fried hen cod's roes. Most of all, he liked the grilled mutton kidneys, which gave to his palate a fine tang of faintly scented urine. Kidneys were in his mind as he moved about the kitchen softly, writing the breakfast things on the humpy tray. Gellied air and light were in the kitchen, but out of doors, gentle summer morning everywhere. It made him feel a bit peckish. The coals were reddening.
Another slice of bread and butter, 3, 4, right. She didn't like her plate full, right.
He turned from the tray, lifting the kettle off the hob and set it sideways on the fire. It sat there, dull and squat, its spout stuck out.
Cup of tea soon. Good, mouth dry.
The cat walked stiffly round a leg of the table with tail on hand.
Oh, there you are.
The cat mewed in answer and stalked again stiffly round a leg of the table, mewing.
Just how she stalks over my writing table. Purr, scratch my head.
Mr. Bloom watched curiously, kindly the lithe black form, clean to see the gloss of her sleek hide, the white button under the butt of her tail, the green flashing eyes. He bent down to her, his hands on his knees.
Milk for the pussins. Oh, we call them stupid. They understand what we say better than we understand them. She understands all she wants to. Vindictive too. Cruel. Her nature. Curious mice never squeal. Seem to like it. Wonder what I look like to her. Height of a tower? No. Oh no, she can jump me. Afraid of the chickens, she is. Afraid of the juk-juks. I never saw such a stupid pussins as the pussins.
Poldy!
Entering the bedroom, he half closed his eyes and walked through the warm yellow twilight towards her tousled head.
Who are the letters for?
He looked at them. Mullingar, Millie.
A letter for me from Millie and a card to you and a letter for you.
He dropped her card and letter on the twill bedspread near the curve of her leg.
Do you want the blind up?
Letting the blind up by gentle tugs halfway, his backward eye saw her glance at the letter and tuck it under her pillow.
That do?
She was reading the card, propped on her elbow.
She got the things.
He waited till she'd laid the card aside and curled herself back slowly with a snug sigh.
Oh, hurry up with that tea. I'm parched.
The kettle is boiling.
But he delayed to clear the chair, her striped petticoat, tossed soiled linen, and lifted all in an armful onto the foot of the bed. As he went down the stairs, she called.
Poldy!
What?
Scald the teapot.
On the boil, sure enough. A plume of steam from the spout. He scalded and rinsed out the teapot and put in 4 full spoons of tea, tilting the kettle then to let the water flow in. Having set it to draw, he took off the kettle, crushed the pan flat on the live coals, and watched the lump of butter slide and melt. While he unwrapped the kidney, the cat mewed hungrily against him.
Give her too much meat, she won't mouse. Say they won't eat pork. Kosher. Here.
He let the blood-smeared paper fall to her and dropped the kidney amid the sizzling butter sauce.
Pepper.
He sprinkled it through his fingers ring-wise from the chipped egg cup. He prodded a fork into the kidney and slapped it over, and then fitted the teapot on the tray. Its hump bumped as he took it up.
Everything on it. bread and butter, 4, sugar, spoon, her cream. Yes.
He carried it upstairs, his thumb hooked in the teapot handle. Nudging the door open with his knee, he carried the tray in and set it on the chair by the bedhead.
What a time you were.
She set the brasses jingling as she raised herself briskly, an elbow on the pillow. He looked calmly down on her bulk and between her large soft boobs, sloping within her nightdress like a she-goat's udder. The warmth of her couched body rose on the air, mingling with the fragrance of the tea she poured. A strip of torn envelope peeped from under the dimpled pillow. In the act of going, he stayed to straighten the bedspread.
Who was the letter from?
Oh, Boylan. He's bringing the programme.
What are you singing?
Latchy Duran with J.C. Doyle and Love's Old Sweet Song.
Her full lips drinking smiled.
Rather stale smell that incense leaves the next day, like foul flower water. Would you like the window open a little?
She dumped a slice of bread into her mouth, asking,
What time is Dignam's funeral?
11, I think. I didn't see the paper.
Following the pointing of her finger, he took up a leg of her soiled drawers from the bed.
No?
Then a twisted grey garter looped round a stocking, rumpled shiny sole.
No, that book.
Other stocking, her petticoat.
Oh, it must have fell down.
He felt here and there.
Voglio innomverai. Oh, I wonder if she pronounces that right. Voglio. Not in the bed. It must have slid down.
He stopped and lifted the valance. Ah, the book! Fallen, sprawled against the bulge of the orange-keyed chamber pot.
Show here. I put a mark in it. There's a word I wanted to ask you.
She swallowed a draught of tea from her cup held by knot handle, and having wiped her fingers smartly on the blanket, began to search the text with a hairpin till she reached the word.
Met him what? Here. What does that mean?
He leaned downwards and read near her polished thumbnail.
Metempsychosis.
Yeah. Who's he when he's at home?
Metempsychosis, it's Greek. From the Greek. That means the transmigration of souls.
Oh, rocks. Tell us in plain words.
He smiled, glancing askance at her mocking eyes.
The same young eyes. The first night after the charades. Dolphin's Barn. Did you finish it?
Yeah. There's nothing smutty in it. Was she in love with the first fella all the time?
Never read it. Do you want another?
Yeah. Get us another by Paul de Kock. Nice name he has.
She poured more tea into her cup, watching it flow sideways.
Oh, must get that Capel Street Library book renewed, or they'll write to Carney, my guarantor. Reincarnation, that's the word. Some people believe that we go on living in another body after death, that we lived before. They call it reincarnation, that we all lived before on the earth thousands of years ago, or some other planet. They say we have forgotten it. Some say that they remember their past lives.
He turned the pages back.
Metempsychosis is what the ancient Greeks called it. They used to believe you could be changed into an animal or a tree, for instance. What they call nymphs, for example.
Her spoon ceased to stir up the sugar. She gazed straight before her, inhaling through her arched nostrils.
There's a smell of born. Did you leave anything on the fire?
Oh, the kidney!
Oh, he fitted the book roughly into his inner pocket and, stubbing his toes against the broken commode, hurried out towards the smell, stepping hastily down the stairs with a hurried stork's leg. Pungent smoke shot up in an angry jet from the side of the pan, and by prodding a prong with the fork under the kidney, he detached it and turned it turtle on its back.
Only a little burnt.
He tossed it off the pan onto a plate and let the scanty brown gravy trickle over it.
After Paddy Dignam's funeral, the cronies meet up in Barney Kieran's pub, where they encounter Ireland's own one-eyed Cyclops.
It was early, early, all in the spring. The birds did whistle and did sweetly sing, changing their notes from tree to tree. And the song they sang was Old Ireland Free. As I mounted the platform high, my aged father was standing by. My aged father did me deny, and the name he gave me was the Croppy Boy.
I was just passing the time of day with old Troy at the DMT at the corner of Barbara Hill there, and be damned but a bloody sweet came along and he nearly drove his gear into me eye. I turned around, said I don't have the weight of me tongue, and who should I see dodging along Stony Batter? Only Joe Hines. Hey, Joe, how you blowing? Did you see that bloody chimney sweep? He near shoved me eye out with his brush.
Good luck. Hey, who's the old bollocks you were talking to?
Old Troy was in the force. I'm in two minds not to give that fellow in charge for obstructing the thoroughfare with his brooms and his ladders.
Are you a strict TT?
No, not taking it between drinks, Joe.
What about paying our respects to our friend?
The citizen. Him having a great confab with that bloody dog of his, Gary on, and he waiting for what the sky would drop in the way of a drink. Sure, it'll be a corporal work on mercy to take it and wring its bloody neck. Mangy old bastard.
Stand and deliver.
Oh, that's all right, citizen. Friends here.
As friends. Oh, no backlash.
A figure seated on a large boulder at the foot of a round tower was that of a broad-shouldered, deep-chested, strong-limbed, frank-eyed, red-haired, freely freckled, shaggy-bearded, wide-mouthed, large-nosed, long-headed, deep-voiced, bare-kneed, brawny-handed, hairy-legged, ruddy-faced, sinewy-armed hero. From shoulder to shoulder, he measured several ells, and his rock-like mountainous knees were covered, as was likewise the rest of his body wherever visible, with a strong growth of tawny, prickly hair in hue and toughness similar to the mountain gorse, Ulix europaeus. The wide-winged nostrils, from which bristles of the same tawny hue projected, were of such capaciousness that within their cavernous obscurity the field lark might easily have lodged her nest. The eyes, in which a tear and a smile strove ever for the mastery, were of the dimensions of a good-sized cauliflower. A powerful current of warm breath issued at regular intervals from the profound cavity of his mouth, while in rhythmic resonance the loud, strong, hail reverberations of this formidable heart thundered rumblingly, causing the ground, the summit of the lofty tower, and the still loftier walls of the cave to vibrate and tremble.
And what's your opinion of the times?
I think the markets are on the rise.
Foreign wars is the cause of it.
It's the Russians wish to tyrannize.
Give over your bloody cotton, Joe, or I'm blue mouldy for want of a point.
3 points, Terry.
Jesus, a quid. Were you robbing the poor box?
Swasn't me brow. 'Twas the prudent member gave me the wheeze on throwaway. Came in 20 to 1, rank outsider.
Bloom gave you the tip. I saw him before I met you, sloping around by Pill Lane with his cog's eyes, counting up all the guts of the fish. Your help, down the farm.
Declare to God I could hear that pint hit the pit of me stomach with a click.
Little Alf Bergen popped in round the door and he hid behind Barney, snug, squeezed up with the laughing. And who was sitting up there in the corner that I hadn't seen, snoring drunk, blind to the world? Only Bob Doran. I didn't know what was up, and Alf kept making signs out the door, and begad, what was it? Only that bloody old pantaloons, Dennis Breen, in his bath slippers, with two big bloody books tucked under his oxter, and his wife hot foot after him. Unfortunate, wretched woman, trotting like a poodle. I thought Alf would split.
Look at him, Breen. He's traipsing around all Dublin with a postcard someone sent him with UP up on it to take a
Take a what?
to take a libel action for £10,000.
Oh, hell.
Ah, here's Alf. Repeat the dose, Terry.
May your shadow never grow less.
How's Willie Murray these times, Alf?
I don't know. I saw him just now in Capel Street at Paddy Dignam, only I was running after that.
You what?
Chimneys.
With who?
With Dignam.
Was it Paddy?
Yes, why?
Don't you know he's dead?
Paddy Dignam dead?
Why?
Sure, I'm after seeing him not 5 minutes ago. It claims a pikestaff.
Well, you saw his ghost then. God between us and all harm.
Good Christ. What? Only 5 and Willie with the two of them there near whatchamacallit. What? Dignam dead? Dead? He's no more dead than you are.
Maybe so, but they took the liberty of burying him this morning anyhow. Paid the debt to nature, God be merciful to him.
Good Christ. I could have sworn it was him.
He was what you might call flabbergasted.
Good Christ. I could have sworn it was him.
And, says Bob Doran with the hat on the back of his paw, lowest blackguard in Dublin when he's under the influence.
Who said Christ was good?
I beg your parsnips.
Is that a good Christ to take away poor little Willie Dignam?
Ah, well, he's over his troubles.
Ah, he's a bloody ruffian. I say to take away poor little Willie Dignam.
Bob Doran starts doing the weeps about Paddy Dignam, true as you're there.
The finest man, the finest, purest character, the noblest, the truest. And he's gone. Poor little Willie Dignam, poor little Paddy Dignam.
Here's bloody near your eye, talking through his bloody hat. Fitter for him to go home to that little sleepwalking bitch he married, Mooney, the bum bailiff's daughter. Mother kept a kip in Hardwick Street that used to be stravaiging about the landings. Badtum Lyons told me that was stopping there at 2 a.m, without a stitch on her, exposing her person, open to all comers. Fair field and no favour.
Come in, he won't eat you.
Hello, Bloom. What'll you have?
Oh, well, I don't really, not at this time. No offense. Besides, I promised Martin Cunningham I'd, well, if you insist, but I'd just take a cigar.
God, he's the prudent member and no mistake. And they start talking about capital punishment. And of course, Bloom comes out with the why and the wherefore and all the codology of the business, and the old dog smelling them all the time.
There's one thing it hasn't a deterrent effect on.
What's that?
The poor bugger's tool that's being hanged.
That's so.
God's truth. I heard that from the head warder that was in Kilmainham when they hanged Joe Brady, the Invincible. He told me when they cut him down after the drop, it was standing up in their faces like a poker.
Ruling passion, strong in death, as someone said.
And now that can be explained by science. It's only a natural phenomenon, don't you see? Because on account of the...
And then he starts with his jawbreakers about phenomenon and science and this phenomenon and the other phenomenon. Phenomenon. The fat heap he married was a nice old phenomenon with a back on her like a ball alley. So, of course, the citizen was only waiting for the wink of the word, and he starts gassing on out of him about the Invincibles and the Old Guard and the Men of 67 and who fears to speak of 98 and a New Ireland and this, that and the other. Oh, talking about a New Ireland, he ought to go and get a new bloody dog, so he ought, scratching his scabs and sniffling and sneezing all around the bloody place.
A new Ireland built on the bones of the glorious dead. Sinn Féin, Sinn Féin awan. The friends we love are by our side, and the foes we hate before us.
And off they started again about Irish sport and the Shoneen Games and about Hurley and the putting the stone and Racy of the soil and building up the nation once again and all of that.
Talking about violent exercise, were you at that Joe Bennett match?
No.
I heard so-and-so made a cool 100 quid over it.
Who?
Blazes. He let out that Myler was on the beer to run the odds, and he's swatting all the time.
We know him, Boylan, the traitor's son. We know what put English gold in his pocket.
Myler dusted the floor with him. See the little kipper not up to his navel and the big fella's swiping. God, he gave him one punch in the wind. Queensbury rules and all, made him puke but he never ate. Blazes knows which side his bread is buttered. I hear he's running a concert up in the north.
He is, isn't he?
Who? Oh, yeah, yes, that's quite true. Yes, a kind of summer tour, you see, just a holiday.
Mrs. B is the bride's particular star, isn't she?
My wife, yes, she's singing, yes. I think it would be a success too. He's an excellent man to organise, excellent.
Oh, become, says I to myself. That explains the milk in the coconut and the absence of hair on the animal's chest. Blazes doing the tootle on the flute. Oh, concert tour, Dirty Dan the Dodger's son off Island Bridge to sold the same horses twice over to the government to fight the Boers. Oh, what? I called about the poor and the water rate, Mr. Boylan. You what? The water rate, Mr. Boylan. You what? Blazes is the buckle that'll organise or take my tick twixt you and me and Connery.
Same again, Terry. You're sure, Bloom?
Thank you, no. I'm here to see Martin Cunningham about this matter of poor Dignam's insurance. You see, Dignam, I mean, he didn't serve any notice of the assignment of the company at the time, and nominally under the Act of Mortgage, he can't recover on the policy.
Holy war, that's a good one if old Shylock's landed. So the wife comes out top dog, eh?
Well, now that's a point for the wife's admirers.
Whose admirers?
The wife's advisors, I mean.
It's on the march, the Irish language. To hell with the bloody brutal Sassenachs and their patois.
They built a civilization on it.
Civilization is what you mean. To hell with them. Curse of a good-for-nothing god like sideways on the bloody tick-lug sons of whores gets. Any civilization they stole from us. Tongue-tied sons of bastards ghosts.
The European family.
They're not European. I was in Europe with Kevin Egan of Paris. You couldn't see a trace of them or their language anywhere in Europe, except in the Cabinet de Sance.
The Irish language and the Gaelic League and the Shawnees that can't speak their own language. Christ, it'll give you heartburn on your arse. Ireland sober is Ireland free. All wind and piss like a tan-yard cat. As much as his bloody life is worth to go down and address his tall talk to the assembled multitude in Shannagolden, where he daredn't show his nose, where the Molly Maguires looking for him to let daylight through him for grabbing the holdings of an evicted tenant.
But what about the fighting navy that keeps our foes at bay?
I'll tell you what about it. Hell upon earth it is. Your glorious British Navy that bosses the earth. That's the great empire they boast of. Drudges and whipped serfs.
But isn't discipline the same everywhere? I mean, wouldn't it be the same here if we put force against force?
We'll put force against force. We'll have our greater Ireland beyond the sea. They were driven out of house and home in the Black 47. Aye, they drove out the peasants in hordes. But those that came to the land of the free remember the land of bondage. And they will come again, and with a vengeance, the champions of Kathleen Ní Houlihan.
We're a long time waiting for that day, citizen, since the poor old woman told us that the French were on the sea and landed at Killala.
The French! What did they ever do for us? The French? Set of dancing masters. Never worth a roasted fart to Ireland. As for the Germans, haven't we had enough of those sausage-eating bastards on the throne, from George the Elector to the flatulent old bitch that's dead?
Well, we have Edward the Peacemaker now.
There's a bloody sight more pox than packs about that boil.
Could you make a hole in another point?
Could a swim duck? Bloom was quite excited with his dun-duckety mud-coloured mug on him and his old plum eyes rolling about.
But all countries have been persecuted. The history of the world is full of it, perpetuating national hatred among nations.
But do you know what a nation means?
A nation is the same people living in the same place.
My God, then, if that's the case, I'm a nation, for I'm living in the same place for the past 5 years.
What is your nation, if I may ask?
Ireland. I was born here. Ireland.
Here, shove us over some more drink here.
And I belong to a race too that is hated and persecuted also now. This very moment, this very instant, robbed, plundered, insulted, persecuted.
Are you talking about the New Jerusalem?
I'm talking about injustice.
Right. Stand up to it then with force like men.
But it's no use. I say it's no use. The force, hatred, history, all that's not life for men and women. Insult and hatred. Everybody knows it's the opposite of that. That's really life.
What?
Well, love. I mean the opposite of hatred. I must go now. If Martin comes, tell him I've gone round to the courthouse to look for him and I'll be back in a second.
Who's hindering you? And off he pops like greased lightning.
A new apostle for the Gentiles. Universal love.
Isn't that what we're told? Love your neighbour.
Love, that chap. Beggar me neighbour is his motto. Love? Oh, yeah. He's a nice pattern of a Romeo and Juliet.
I know where he's gone. He's gone to collect his own shekels on throwaway.
Is it that white-eyed kaffir that never backed a horse in anger in his life?
God save Ireland from the likes of that bloody mouse about Mr. Bloom and his Argo, Bargo, and his old fella before him, perpetuating frauds, old Methuselah Bloom, the robbing bagman, but poisoned himself with the prussic acid after he swamped the country with his baubles and his penny diamonds, loans by post on easy terms, any amount of money advanced on none note in hand, distance no object, no security. God, he's like Lanty McHale's goat that'd go a piece of the road with everyone.
Here's Cunningham, the man will tell you all about it.
Where's Bloom? He said he'd be here.
He's off defrauding widows and orphans.
What is he, for God's sake? A Jew or a Gentile or a Holy Roman or a swaddler? Or what the hell is he?
Simple enough, a Hungarian Jew born in Ireland.
Is he a cousin of Bloom the dentist?
Not at all, only namesake. Name was Virag, the father's name that poisoned himself. He changed by deed poll, the father did.
That's the new Messiah for Ireland. Ireland of saints and sages.
Well, they're still waiting for their Redeemer. For that matter, so are we.
And every male that's born, they think it may be their Messiah. And every Jew is in a tall state of excitement, so they say, till he knows if he's a father or a mother, expecting every moment will be his next.
My God, you should have seen him before that son of his was born, dead now, of course, dithering like it was him was pregnant.
Do you call that a man?
I wonder, did he ever put it out of sight?
Well, a son was born anyhow.
And who does he suspect?
It's a wise child that knows his own father.
God, there's many a true word spoken jest.
Martin, I was just round the courthouse looking for you. I hope I'm not...
Courthouse, my eye, and his pockets hanging down with gold and silver. Oh, cute as a shithouse rat. Mean bloody scut. Standards a drink itself. Devilish sweet fear, all for number one.
No, we're ready.
And he got them out of that as quick as he could, up with them on the bloody jaunting car. But begob, I was just lowering the heel of a pint when I saw the citizen getting up and waddling to the door, puffing and blowing with the dropsy, and he cursing the curse of Cromwell on him, bell, book and candle in Irish, spitting and spatting out of him, and Joe and little Alf round him like leprechauns, trying to pacify him.
Let me alone. 3 cheers for Israel.
Yara, sit down on the parliamentary side of your arse, for Christ's sake, and don't be making a public exhibition of yourself. Jesus, there's always some bloody clown or other kicking up bloody murder about bloody nothing. God, but it turned the porter sour in your guts, so it would. and all the ragamuffins and sluts in the nation round the door, and Martin telling the Jarvey to drive ahead, and the citizen bawling, and Alf and Joe at him to whisht, and all, and he on his high horse about the Jews, and the loafers calling for a speech, and one with a patch over his eye starts singing, "If the man in the moon was a Jew, Jew, Jew," and a slut shouts out of her,
Hey, mister, your fly is open, mister.
Oh, well, Mendelssohn was a Jew, and Karl Marx, and Mercadante, and Spinoza, and the Savior was a Jew, and his father was a Jew, your God.
He had no father. That'll do now. Drive ahead, Jarvey.
Who's God?
Well, his uncle was a Jew. Your God was a Jew. Christ was a Jew like me.
Why, Jesus, I'll brain that bloody Jew man for using the holy name. By Jesus, I'll crucify him, so I will. Give us that biscuit box there.
Oh,
no, stop taking this.
I'll murder him.
Hold on there, citizen.
The bloody nag took fright, and the old mongrel after the car like bloody hell, and all the populace shouting and laughing, and the old tin box clapping along the street.
Did I kill him or what? After him, Gary. After him, boy.
And the last we saw was the bloody car round in the corner, an old sheep face on it gesticulating, and the bloody mongrel after it with his lugs back for all he was bloody well worth to tear him limb from limb. You never saw the like of it in all your born puff. I'm off. I'll be in for the last gospel.
When lo, there came about them all a great brightness, and they beheld the chariot wherein he stood ascend to heaven, and they beheld him in the chariot, clothed upon in the glory of the brightness, having raiment as of the sun, fair as the moon, and terrible, that for all they durst not look upon him. And there came a voice out of heaven calling, Elijah, Elijah. And he answered with a main cry, Abba, Adonai. And they beheld him, even him, Ben, Bloom, Elijah, and amid clouds and angels ascend to the glory of the brightness at an angle of 45 degrees over Donahue's in Little Green Street, like a shot off a shovel.
God save Ireland, said the heroes. God save Ireland, said they all. Whether on the scaffold high or the battlefield we die, well, what matter when for Erin dear we fall?
Okay, thank you. So that's the end of the first part of our Zoom Day Bloomsday. And we're going to have a 5-minute break, during which Dave Clydesdale will entertain you. Thank you. It's midday, and Bloom is now in the city centre taking care of business and thinking about lunch. However, the thought that Blazes Boylan, Molly's impresario and suspected lover, has arranged a 4 o'clock rendezvous with his wife continues to nag Bloom.
His smile faded as he walked, a heavy cloud hiding the sun, slowly shading Trinity's surly front. Trams passed one another, ingoing, outgoing, clanging.
This is the very worst hour of the day. Vitality, dull, gloomy. Hate this hour. Feel as if I've been eaten and spewed.
Oh, Mr. Bloom, how do you do?
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Breen?
No use complaining. How is Molly these times? Haven't seen her for ages.
In the pink. Millie has a position down in Mullingar, you know.
Go away. Isn't that grand for her?
Oh, yes, a photographer's there, getting on like a house on fire. How are all your charges?
All on the baker's list.
How many has she? No other in sight.
You're in black, I see. You have no...
Oh, yeah, no, I have just come from a funeral. Going to crop up all day, I foresee. Who's dead? When? What did he die of? Turn up like a bad penny.
Oh, dear me. I hope it wasn't any near relation.
I may as well get her sympathy. Dignam, an old friend of mine. He died quite suddenly, poor fella. Heart trouble, I believe. Funeral was this morning. You feel the rest tomorrow when you come through the road. Diddle diddle dum dum diddle diddle.
Sad to lose the old friends.
Oh, no, that's quite enough about that. Just quietly, husband, and your lord and master.
Oh, don't be talking. He's a caution to rattlesnakes. He's in there now with his law books, finding out the law of libel. He has me heart scalded. Wait till I show you.
Opening her handbag, chipped leather, hat pin.
Not to have a guard on those things. Stick it in a chap's eye on the tram. Rummaging, open, money. Please take one. Divils if they lose sixpence. Raise Cain, husband barging. Where's the 10 shillings I gave you on Monday? Are you feeding your little brother's family? Soiled handkerchief, medicine bottle, pastille that was fell. What is she?
There must be a new moon out. He's always bad then. Do you know what he did last night?
Her hand ceased to rummage. Her eyes fixed themselves on him, wide in alarm, yet smiling.
What?
Woke me up in the middle of the night. Dream he had, a nightmare. Said the ace of spades was walking up the stairs.
The ace of spades?
She took a folded postcard from her handbag.
Read that postcard. He got it this morning.
What is it? UP.
UP. Up! Someone taking a rise out of him. It's a great shame for them, whoever he is.
Indeed it is.
And now he's going round to Mr. Menton's office. He's going to take an action for £10,000.
She folded the card into her untidy bag and snapped the catch.
Same blue serge dress she had 2 years ago. The nap bleaching. Seen its best days. Wispish hair over her ears and that dowdy toque. 3 old grapes to take the harm out of it. Shabby genteel. She used to be a tasty dresser. Lines around her mouth. Only a year or so older than Molly. Oh, see the eye that woman gave her passing. Cruel. The unfair sex. Do you ever see anything of Mrs. Beaufoy?
Mean a Purefoy?
Oh, yes.
I just called to ask on the way in, is she over it? She's in the Lion Inn Hospital in Hollis Street. Dr. Horn got her in. She's 3 days bad now.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, and a house full of kids at home. It's a very stiff birth, the nurse told me.
Oh.
His heavy, pitying gaze absorbed her news. His tongue clacked in compassion.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Poor thing. 3 days. That's terrible for her.
She was taken bad on the Tuesday.
Mr. Bloom touched her funny bone gently, warning her.
Mind, let this man pass.
A bony form strode along the curbstone from the river, staring with rapt gaze into the sunlight through a heavy strained glass. Tight as a skull piece, a tiny hat Cat gripped his head. From his arm, a folded dust coat, a stick and an umbrella dangled to his stride.
Watch him. He always walks outside the lampposts. Watch.
Who is he, if it's a fair question? Is he Dotty?
But his name is Cashel Boyle O'Connor Fitzmaurice Tisdall Farrell. Watch.
He has enough of them. Oh, Dennis will be like that one of these days.
She broke off suddenly.
There he is. I must go after him. Goodbye. Remember me to Molly, won't you?
I will.
He watched her dodge through passers towards the shop fronts. Dennis Breen, in skimpy frock coat and blue canvas shoes, shuffled out of Harrison's, hugging two heavy tomes to his ribs.
Blown in from the bay, like old times.
He suffered her to overtake him without surprise and thrust his dull grey beard towards her, his loose jaw wagging as he spoke earnestly.
Meshuggah. Off his chump. UP. Up. Oh, I'll take my oath. That's Alf Bergen or Richie Goulden. Wrote it for a lark in the Scotch House. I bet anything. Round to Menton's office, his oyster eyes staring at the postcard. Be a feast for the gods. Ah, poor Dignam. Out of the frying pan of life into the fire of purgatory. Ah, let them sleep in their maggoty beds. They're not going to get me this innings. Warm bed. Warm, full-blooded life.
Oft in the stilly night, ere slumber's chain has bound me, fond memory brings the light of other days around me. The smiles, the tears of boyhood's years, the words of love then spoken, the eyes that shone, now dimmed and gone, the cheerful heart now broken. Thus in the stilly night, ere slumber's chain hath bound me, sad memory brings the light of other days around me.
Later in the day on Sandemont Strand, Bloom encounters the warm, full-blooded life he promised himself after burying Teddy Dignam.
Those lovely seaside girls, all dimples, smiles and curls, your head it simply swirls, they look all right, complexions pink and white, they've diamond rings and dainty feet, golden hair from Regent Street, lace and grace and lots of face, those pretty little seaside girls.
The summer evening had begun to fold the world in its mysterious embrace. Far away in the west, the sun was setting, and the last glow of all too fleeting day lingered lovingly on sea and strand, on the proud promontory of dear old Howth, guarding as ever the waters of the bay, and on the weed-grown rocks along Sandymount shore. Gertie McDowell was seated near her companions, Sissy Caffrey and Edie Boardman, gazing far into the distance.
Come here, Tommy, at once, and you, Jackie, for shame to throw poor Tommy in the dirty sand. Wait till I catch you for that.
I'd like to give him something, so I would. Where? I won't say.
Ha, on the B-town T-tum.
For shame, Sissy. I'm sure that gentleman there heard what you said.
Let him hear. Give it to him too, on the same place, quick as I look at him.
Hail, Queen of Heaven, the ocean star, guide of the wanderer here below. Remind thy son that he has paid the price of our iniquity, Virgin most pure, star of the sea, pray for the wanderer, pray for me.
The men's Temperance Retreat. How sad. If only Father had avoided the clutches of the demon drink. If only he'd taken the pledge, or that cure advertised in Pearson's Weekly.
Oh, that ball again. Little brats. Oh, it's hit that gentleman.
That man. His face. There in the twilight. It's the saddest face I've ever seen.
Say papa, baby, say papa. Oh, holy St. Dennis, he's pussin' wet. Edie, double the blanket under him the other way.
I wish to goodness they'd take their squalling babies home out of that and not get on my nerves. No hour to be out on those brats of twins. That man, his eyes burning onto me as though he would read my very soul. Dark eyes in a pale, intellectual face. Like a matinee idol. A foreigner, perhaps. And in deep mourning. The story of a haunting soul written on his face. I'd give worlds to know what it is. I'm glad I put on my transparent stockings. Exasperating little brats of twins. Little monkeys common as ditch water. Oh, those eyes, burning eyes, fixing themselves on me again, drinking in every contour, literally worshipping at my shrine, is it?
A penny for your thoughts?
What? Oh, I was wondering, was it late?
Wait, I'll ask me Uncle Peter over there. What's the time by his conundrum? Have you the time, please? Uncle says his waterworks is out of order.
Oh, look, Sissy!
It's fireworks! Come on, Gertie, it's the bizarre fireworks!
He had no intention of being at their beck and call. If they could run like Rossies, she could sit and see where she was. The eyes that were fastened upon her set her pulses tingling. She looked at him a moment, meeting his glance, and a light broke out upon her. White, hot passion was in that face, passion silent and secret as the grave, and it made her his. She knew he could be trusted to the death, a steadfast and sterling gentleman, a man of inflexible honour to his fingertips. She leant back far to look up where the fireworks were, and she caught her knee in her hands so as to not fall back looking up, and there was no one to see him, only him. And her, when she revealed all her gracefully, beautifully shaped legs like that, supplely soft and delicately rounded, and she seemed to hear the panting of his heart, his hoarse breath. Because she knew the passion of men like that, hot-blooded. Because Bertha Supple once told her in dead secret that she could almost feel him draw her face into his, and the quick touch of his hot, handsome lips. Besides, there's no absolution so long as you didn't do the thing that the other thing before being married, and there ought to be women priests that would understand without your telling out. And Sissy Caffrey too sometimes had that dreary kind of dreamy look in her eyes, so that she too, my dear, and Winnie Ripperham so mad about the actors' photographs, and besides, it was on account of that other thing coming on the way it did. And Jackie Caffrey shouted to look, and there was another thing, and she leaned back ever so far to see the fireworks, and something queer was flying about through the air, a soft thing, to and fro, dark, and she saw a long Roman candle going up the trees, up, and a tense hush. And they were all breathless with excitement and went higher and higher, and she had to lean back more and more to look up after it, high and high, almost out of sight, and she could see other things too. Nain Snook knickers the fabric that caresses her skin, and she let him, and she saw that he saw, and it went so high, it went out of sight a moment, and she was trembling in every limb from beginning, bent so far back, and he had a full view high up above her knee, no one ever, not even on the swing or wailing, and she wasn't ashamed, and he wasn't either, to look in that immodest way, because he couldn't resist the sight of the wondrous revealment half offered, and he kept looking, and then a rocket sprang, bang, and shot blind, and oh, and then the Roman candle burst, and oh, in raptures, and it gushed out of it a stream of rain, gold hair threads, all greeny, dewy, and stars falling with golden, oh, so lovely, oh, so soft, sweet, soft. And then, oh, melted away, dewily in the grey air. All was silent. Ah.
Gertie, we're going. Come on. We can see from further up.
Leopold Bloom, for it is he, stands silent with bowed head before those young guileless eyes. Oh, what a brute he'd been. At it again. Slowly, and without looking back, she went down the uneven strand. She walked with a certain quiet dignity characteristic of her, with care and very slowly, because Gertie McDowell was...
Tight boot? No. She's lame. Oh. A hot little devil all the same. Wouldn't mind. Begins to feel cold and clammy. After effect not pleasant. Still, you have to get rid of it some way. Funny, my watch stopped at 4:30. Was that just when she... Oh, he did. Into her. She did. Dumb. Well, I had that. Not the same, but... Bailey light flashing. Hill of House. All quiet on House now. Where we... The rhododendrons. I am a fool, perhaps. He gets the plums and I the plum stones. Love, lie, and be handsome, for tomorrow we die. How many years is it now? Up there on the head of house, she and me. This time of year, below us, bay sleeping sky. Pillowed on my coat, she had her hair, the earwigs in the heather scrub, my hands under her nape. You'll toss me all. Oh, wonder. Cool, soft with ointments, her hand touched me, caressed. Ravished over her I lay, full lips, full open, kissed her mouth. The young life, soft, warm, sticky, gum jelly lips, flowers her eyes were. Take me, willing eyes, she lay still. Wildly I lay on her, kissed her, their eyes, her lips, her stretched neck beating, her woman's breasts, full in her blouse of nuns veiling, fat nipples upright. Yielding, she tossed my hair. She kissed me. I was kissed. Kissed. She kissed me. Me. And me now, tired, drained all the manhood out of me. What's that flying about? Oh, bat, probably. Bell seems to have scared him out. Mass seems to be over. Could hear them all at it. Pray for us and pray for us and pray for us. Good idea, the repetition. Same thing with ads. Buy from us and buy from us. Oh, exhausted that female has me. Not so young now. We'll never meet again. But it was lovely. Goodbye, dear. And thanks. Made me feel so young.
'Tis the last rose of summer left blooming alone. All her lovely companions are faded and gone. No flower of her kindred, no rosebud is nigh to reflect back her blushes and give sigh for sigh.
Thursday. The setting is Nighttown, the infamous Monto red light district. But it's a nightmarish, phantasmagoric world where the real and the imagined and the unconscious fears clash and fuse.
The Mabbott Street entrance of Nighttown, the forward stretches, an uncobbled tram siding set with skeleton tracks, red and green will-o'-the-wisps and danger signals. Rows of flimsy houses with gaping doors, round Rabiotti's halted iced gondola, stunted men and women squabble. Whistles call and answer.
Wait, me love, and I'll be with ya.
Round behind the stable.
A woman screams, a child wails, figures wander, lurk, peer from warrens. The famished, snaggled tusks of an elderly board protrude from the
I gave it to Molly because she was jolly. The leg of the duck, the leg of the duck.
Signs on you, hairy arse.
Ah, she has it, she's got it. Wherever she put it, the leg of the duck, the leg of the duck.
Stephen Dedalus and his companions stagger into Nighttown.
In the beginning was the Word. In the end, the world without end.
Way ho for the parson.
What ho, parson?
Idi aquam agredientum de templo alla terri dextro, alleluia. Salvi facti sunt.
Philosophical philo-theology metaphysics in Mecklenburg Street.
Shh, come here till I tell you. Maidenhead inside.
Et omnes ad quos pervenita quaista.
Trinity Medicals. Fallopian tube. All prick and no pence.
An age of exhausted wisdom groping for its God.
Are you out of the seminary?
Out of it now, the agony in the closet.
I'm sure you're a spoiled priest. Or a monk.
He's a cardinal's son.
Cardinal sin. Monks of the screw. Oh, too much of this, eh? I'm partially drunk, by the way.
Where the hell are you going?
Lecherous lengths de la belle dame sans merci.
Snakes of river fog creep slowly. From drains, clefts, cesspools, middens arise on all sides of stagnant fumes. In the convex mirror grin unstuck the bonham eyes and fat cheek chops of jolly Poldy the Rickstick Goldie.
Oh, a stitch in my side. Oh, why did I run? Wild goose chase this. Disorderly houses. Lord knows where Stephen and them are gone. What am I following him for? Still, Deadless is the best of that lot. He'll lose that cash. Soon got, soon gone.
Hatch Street, any good in your mind? You won't get a virgin in the flash houses.
10 shillings a maidenhead. Fresh thing was never touched.
Are you looking for someone? He's inside with friend.
Is this Mrs. Max?
No, 81, Mrs. Kearns, mother slipper slapper. She's on the job herself tonight with the vet.
Ella Cohen, poor mistress enters.
Ah, my word, I'm all of a muck sweat. Oh, the married, I see. And the missus is master. Petticoat government.
That is so. Powerful being. In my eyes read that slumber that women love. Exuberant female. Enormously I desiderate your domination. I am exhausted, abandoned, no more young. I stand, so to speak, with the unposted letter bearing the extra regulation fee before the too late box of the General Post Office of human life.
Ah, well, all things end. You may. You must.
Bella raises her gown slightly and lifts to the edge of a chair a plump buskined hoof and a full pastern silk stocked. Bloom, stiff-legged, aging, bends over her hoof and with gentle finger draws out and in her laces.
If you're bungle handy, Andy, I'll kick your football for you.
Awaiting your further orders, we remain, gentlemen.
Down. On your hands. Down.
Truffles!
With a piercing epileptic cry, he sinks on all fours. Bella places her heel on his neck and grinds it in.
Feel my entire weight. Bow, bun slave, before the throne of your despot's glorious heels, so glistening in their proud erectness.
I promise never to disobey.
Holy smoke, you little know what's in store for you. I'll bet Kentucky cocktails all round. I'll shame it out of you.
He didn't mean it. Bella, it'll be good.
Come, Ducky dear, I want a word with you, darling, just to administer correction. Just a little heart-to-heart talk now. That's a good boy now.
Bella grabs his hair violently and drags him forward.
I only want to correct you for your own good on a soft safe spot. Ooh, how's that tender behind? Oh, no, ever so gently, pet. Begin to get ready.
Oh, don't tear my...
Gee up, ride a cock horse to Banbury Cross. You're in for it this time. I'll make you remember me for the balance of your natural life. This will hurt you.
Bella twists Bloom's arm.
Oh, it's hell itself. Every nerve in my body aches like mad.
Now for your punishment frock. You will shed your male garments, you understand. As the girls are now, so will you be. Wigged, perfume sprayed, rice powdered with smooth shaven armpits.
Oh, I tried her things on only once. A small prank. It was Gerald converted me to be a true corset lover when I was a female impersonator in the high school play, Vice Versa.
The sins of your past are rising against you, many, hundreds.
What was the most revolting piece of obscenity in all your career of crime?
Puke it out.
Pug-nosed, repugnant.
What else are you good for, an impotent thing like you? Can you do a man's job?
Eccles Street?
Well, it wouldn't hurt your feelings for the world, but there's a man of brawn, impassioned there. Oh, wait for 9 months, me lad. He shot his boat.
Now, eunuch.
Ah, that makes you wild, doesn't it? Oh, it touches the spot. Spittoon.
I was indecently treated. I informed the police to drive me mad. Moll, I forgot. Forgive. Moll, we still.
Cry, babby, cry, babby. Crocodile tears.
My willpower. I have sinned. I have suffered.
Blaze is boiling. His straw boater sets sideways. A red flower in his mouth struts in. Bloom appears in a flunkey's plum plush coat and knee breeches, buff stockings.
Hello, Bloom. Mrs. Bloom up yet?
I'm afraid not, sir. The last articles.
Here, to buy yourself a gin and splash.
Blazes tosses Bloom sixpence and hangs his hat smartly on a peg of Bloom's antlered head.
I have a little private business with your wife, you understand.
Oh, thank you, sir. I will, sir. May I bring 2 chums to witness the deed and take a snapshot? Vaseline, sir? Orange flower? Lukewarm water?
Oh, he simply idolizes every bit of her. Look, stuck together, covered with kisses. Oh, yum, yum. Oh, he's carrying her around the room, doing it. Ride a cow horse. You could hear them in Paris and New York, like mouthfuls of strawberries and cream.
Show. The hide. The show. Oh, power. More. Shoot.
Oh, Leopold lost the pin of his drawers. He didn't know what to do to keep it up. How's your middle leg? Here, come here till I stiffenify you.
Caught in the act.
Well, I am doing good to others. The friend of man, trained by kindness.
Name and address.
I have forgotten for the moment. Yes, Dr. Bloom, Leopold, a dental surgeon. You have heard of von Bloom Pasha. Owns half Austria, Egypt, cousin.
You ought to be thoroughly well ashamed of yourself.
Gentlemen of the jury, let me explain. I am a man misunderstood. I am being made a scapegoat of. I am a respectable married man without a stain on my character. I live in Eccles Street. My wife is the daughter of a most distinguished commander. What do you call him? Major General Brian Tweedy, one of the Britain's finest fighting men who helped win our battles.
Turncoat, up the boys!
Moses, King of the Jews, wiped his ass in the Daily News.
Order in the court.
I can give best references. I have moved in the charmed circle of the highest. I was just chatting this afternoon at the Vice Regal Lodge to my old pals, Sir Robert and Lady Ball, Astronomer Loyal, at the levee. Sir Bob, I said.
Arrest him, Constable. He saw me on the polo grounds of the Phoenix Park at the match All Ireland versus the rest of Ireland. The plebeian Don Juan observed me from behind a hackney car and sent me in double envelopes an obscene photograph, such as are sold after dark on the Paris boulevards, insulting to any lady. I have it still. It represents a partially nude senorita, frail and lovely, practicing illicit intercourse with a muscular torero, evidently a blackguard. He urged me to do likewise, to misbehave, to sin with officers of the garrison. He implored me to soil his letter in an unspeakable manner, to chastise him as he richly deserves, to bestride and ride him, to give him a most vicious horsewhipping. Hell hang Judas Iscariot.
Lynch him! Roast him! He's as bad as Parnell was.
This is midsummer madness. Some ghastly joke again. By heaven, I am as guiltless as the unsunned snow. Fellow countrymen, I call on my old friend, Dr. Malachi Mulligan, sex specialist, to give medical testimony on my behalf.
Dr. Bloom is bisexually abnormal. He has recently escaped from Dr. Eustace's private asylum for demented gentlemen. Born out of wedlock, hereditary epilepsy is present, the consequence of unbridled lust. He has marked symptoms of chronic exhibitionism. He is prematurely bald from self-abuse, perversely idealistic in consequence, a reformed rake, and has metal teeth. I believe him to be more sinned against than sinning. I have made a pervaginal examination, and after application of the acid test to 5,427 anal, axillary, pectoral, and pubic hairs, I declare him to be Virgo intacta. Professor Bloom is a finished example of the new womanly man. His moral nature is simple and lovable. I appeal for clemency in the name of the most sacred word our vocal organs have ever been called upon to speak. He is about to have a baby.
I so want to be a mother.
Embrace me tight, dear. You'll soon be over it. Tight, dear.
Bloom embraces her tightly and bears 8 male, yellow and white children.
Bloom, are you the Messiah Ben Joseph or Ben David?
Oh, you have said it.
Perform a miracle then, you cod.
You hang your hog, you dirty dog, you think the ladies love you.
Ah, my beloved subjects, a new era is about to dawn. I, Bloom, tell you verily, it is even now at hand. Yea, on the word of a Bloom, ye shall long enter into the golden city, which is to be the new Bloomusalem of the Nova Hibernia of the future.
42 workmen wearing rosettes from all the counties in Ireland, under the guidance of Derwin the Builder, construct the new Bloomusalem. It is a colossal edifice with crystal roof built in the shape of a huge pork kidney.
All the people cast soft pantomime stones at Bloom. Brother Buzz places a bag of gunpowder round his neck. Lieutenant Myers of the Dublin Fire Department, by general request, sets fire to Bloom.
A coal, a coal, a coal.
Weep not for me, O daughters of Erin.
A choir of 600 voices conducted by Mr. Vincent O'Brien sing the Hallelujah chorus, accompanied on the organ by Joseph Glynn. Bloom becomes mute, shrunken, carbonized.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
In the early hours of the next day, Bloom, or Odysseus, has returned home from his urban odyssey and is sleeping while his awakened Penelope, Molly, contemplates life and love.
Love thee, dearest, love thee. Yes, by yonder star, I swear, which through tears above thee shines so sadly fair. Thou too oft dimmed with tears like him, my truth will shine. And love thee, dearest, love thee. Yes, till death I'm thine.
Oh, goodbye to me sleep for this night anyhow. I hope he's not going to get in with those medicals, leading him astray to imagine he's young again. Coming in at 4 in the morning it must be. Squandering money, getting drunker and drunker. Well, I'll knock him off that little habit tomorrow. First, I look at his shirt to say, Or I'll see if he has that French letter still in his pocketbook. I suppose he thinks I don't know. Deceitful man. Oh, their 20 pockets aren't enough for their lies. Why can't you kiss a man without going and marrying him first? You sometimes love too wildly when you feel that way, so nice all over you. You can't help yourself. I wish some man or other would take me sometime, kiss me in his arms. There's nothing like a kiss, long and hot down to your soul. Almost paralyzes you. Then I hate that confession when I used to go to Father Corrigan. He touched me, Father. What harm if he did? Where? And I said, on the canal bank, like a fool. But whereabouts on your person, my child? On the leg? Behind? High up, was it? Yes, rather high up. Was it where you sit down? Yes. Oh, Lord, couldn't he just say bottom right out and have done with it? And what did he want to know for when I'd already confessed it to God? He had a nice fat hand, the palm moist always. I wouldn't mind feeling it. Neither would he, I'd say, by the bull neck in his horse collar. I'd like to be embraced by one in his vestments and the smell of incense off him like the Pope. Besides, there's no danger with the priest if you're married. Oh, move over, you big carcass out of that, for the love of Mike. Listen to him. The winds that waft my sighs today. So well may sleep and sigh, the great suggester, Don Poldo de la Flora. You know, I suppose there isn't in all creation another man with the habits he has. Look at the way he's sleeping now at the foot of the bed. Sure, nobody understands his cracked ideas but me. You know, I wonder, was Boylan satisfied with me? One thing I didn't like was him slapping me behind going away in the hall, though I laughed. I'm not a horse or an ass, am I? I think he made them a bit firmer, sucking them like that so long. He made me thirsty. Titties, he calls them. Oh, stiff the nipple gets for the least thing. They're supposed to represent beauty placed up there like those statues in the museum. Are they so beautiful? Of course, compared with what a man looks like with his 2 bags full and his other thing hanging down out of him or sticking up at you like a hat rack, well, no wonder they cover it with a cabbage leaf. I had a great breast of milk with Millie, enough for 2. I had to get him to suck them, they were so hard. He said it was sweeter and thicker than cows. Then he wanted to milk me into the tea. Sure, he's beyond everything. I declare, somebody ought to put him in the budget. Oh, they want everything in their mouth. All the pleasure those men get off a woman. I can feel his mouth. Oh, Lord. I wish he was here, or someone to let myself go with. I feel all fire inside me. Oh, I must stretch myself. Better lower this lamp, get up early and go down to Lamb's and get them to send up some flowers about the place. I love flowers. I'd love to have the whole place swimming in roses. God in heaven, there's nothing like nature. The wild mountains, then the sea and the waves rushing, all sorts of shapes and smells and colours springing up out of the ditches. Does your heart good to see? The sun shines for you, he said. The day we were lying among the rhododendrons on Howth Head. The grey tweed suit and his straw hat. The day I got him to propose to me, yes. First, I gave him the bit of seed cake out of my mouth. And it was leap year, like now. 16 years ago. My God. After that long kiss, I near lost me breath. Yes. He said I was a flower of the mountain. Yes. So we are flowers all. A woman's body. That was the one true thing he said in his life. And the sun shines for you today. Yes. That was why I liked him, because I saw he understood or felt what a woman is. And I knew I could always get around him. And I gave him all the pleasure I could, leading him on till he asked me to say yes. And I wouldn't answer first, only looked out over the sea and the sky. I was thinking of so many things he didn't know of. Oh, the sea, Gibraltar. The sea, crimson sometimes, like fire. The glorious sunsets and the fig trees in the Alameda gardens, and the rose gardens and the jasmine and the geraniums and the cactuses. And Gibraltar was a girl where I was a flower of the mountain, yes. When I put the rose in my hair, like the Andalusians used. Shall I wear red? Yes. And how Mulvey kissed me under the Moorish wall. And I thought, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask again, yes. And then he asked me, would I? Yes, to say yes, my mountain flower. And first I put my arms around him, yes, and drew him down to me so he could feel my breasts all perfume, yes. And his heart was going like mad. And yes, I said, yes, I will. Yes.
Once in the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the world the mists began to fall, out of the dreams that rose in happy throng, low to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk where fell the firelight gleam, softly it wove itself into our dream. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song. Even today we hear love's song of yore, deep in our hearts it dwells forevermore. Footsteps may falter, weary grow the way, still we can hear it at the close of day. So till the end, when life's dim shadows fall, love will be found the sweetest song of all. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for celebrating our Zoomsday Bloomsday 2020 with us. And hopefully next June 16th, we will all be rejoicing on the beaches. Thank you. Bye-bye.